Morning, members. Can I please remind you to ensure that mobile phones and other devices are on silent, that banners, etc. are not permitted and members of the public are not allowed to address the meeting, to use the microphones which are available when addressing the meeting, that you may be filmed during or recorded during this meeting. Thank you. Please stand for the Madam Chairman.
Members, please be seated. There are no prayers today, as this is a single item agenda. This will resume as normal at the next meeting. We will also be breaking for lunch at 12:30 p.m. That is if this meeting is still in session at this point. Thank you. Item 1, apologies for absence. I will ask each group to provide any apologies. Please ensure reasons for any apology that are provided. Thank you. Councillor Martin Wright, do you have any apologies?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do. I have Councillor John Doddy, other reasons, Richard Ward, other reasons, Alan Byte, other reasons, Daniel Sabin, other reasons, and Councillor Hannah John, who's late with car mechanical trouble. Thank you.
Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I've got apologies from Councillor Stuart Bestwick and Councillor Mike Trainer for other reasons.
Thank you. Councillor Clooney. And Councillor Carr, do you have any apologies?
No apologies.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. If any councillor or officer has an interest in any matter on the agenda, you should declare it now. Please raise your hand now if you have an interest to declare. When called to speak, you should state what type of interest it is and give brief details. Do I have any speakers? Item 3, local government reorganisation in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire. I call upon Councillor Mick Barton to introduce the report and move the recommendations. Councillor Barton to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And what a lovely morning it is, and welcome everybody. As you're all aware, LGR is not new. In fact, it has been put forward twice in Nottinghamshire in the last 10 years under the Conservative administration. The first time was in 2018 when a business case for a single county authority was put forward and the current county boundary was prepared. stating possible savings of £27 million. Yet days after this proposal was published, it was withdrawn, allegedly as there was not enough support for it. Or was that there was an up-and-coming election for the districts and boroughs and the city councils? I wonder. Then again, in 2020, as the county recovered from the COVID pandemic, a further proposal for a single county unitary collapsed. Again, following the resignation of the then Conservative Minister of the State of Regional Growth and Local Government, until that point, were championed LGR. After failing twice to get LGR over the line, it is not a surprise that in 2021, at the county council elections, the Conservative election leaflet stated they no longer had plans to scrap borough and district councils. This came from a motion at full council in May 2021. I know a few members here today voted in favour of that motion, which was put forward by the Ashfield Independents, who wanted to commit the county council to a two-tier system. The Conservatives voted against this, not wanting to rule out LGR just yet. In this round of LGR in 2025, the Conservatives in Nottinghamshire voted for option 2 at the full council meeting back in March, then voted for 1B in Newark and Sherwood and Rushcliffe Borough Council, then went on to vote for option 1E in Gedling Borough Council in July. I do not want to name names, but you know who you are. It's hardly looking after the residents who voted for you to do this, is it? Pick a number, any number comes to mind, or even spin the bottle. Now we hear in the media that the Conservatives would like to look at more options to choose from. Well, they've been choosing these for 10 years now, and in reality, it's taken our reform group to come in and take these discussions from you. Discussions that will implicate the lives of residents of Nottinghamshire as a whole. We have brought to fruition in 4 months what's taken you 10 years to decide by judging by the evidence above. Left to the Conservatives, the public will have to wait at least another 10 years. At least another 10 years. You can't make a decision if your life depended on it. The current round of reorganisation is based on a new criteria introduced by the Labour government. It is a new criteria that mean the options on the table will create 2 councils from the 9 councils we have today. Let's be clear. The criteria in the letter from the Minister that Councillor Smith received as the leader of the council in February are exactly the same criteria we have clarified time after time after time again by the Minister and civil servants. No watering down, no rowing back. It's exactly the same criteria. Leaders in February shortlisted the options that had been worked up. In July, when I chaired a meeting of the 9 leaders, there was no support from leaders for the splitting of the district options or the 3 unitary options. So why choose 1B? It creates 2 new councils, one to serve the mostly urban areas and one to serve the more rural communities, along with the people who live in towns and villages. It's the most efficient option. Over the long run, it will save the taxpayer the most money. It will be reinvested in the services that people actually want, like fixing the roads, pavements, and keeping the streets clean, the parks up to date, etc. It's the biggest geography for creating connections with local communities while creating area committees that give local people more say and more control over what happens in their local area, which is what matters to residents. Option 1B gives us the opportunity to work with MCA on growth corridors for the new housing and employment sites, and will also help us regenerate our towns and city. If we look at councils like Sheffield, Leeds, North Yorkshire, new councils based on 1B will look more like these. These are good councils which deliver very good services and are connected to their communities and residents. There has been many hours spent looking at the options given by officers who represent the most crucial services that we are responsible for, which are adult social care and children and family services. They too concluded that 1B was the best option for the council. So, a reform-led council will ensure that there is a smooth, seamless transition of services that will improve for residents and will be able to make contact easier, whether it be by phone, email, text, social media, and we shall also have somewhere where residents can raise concerns and ideas close to them. I would like to invite colleagues across the chamber to support 1B option and invite you to work with us in a cross-party member working sessions to develop a final proposal that delivers the best outcome for residents. Let's look at the road ahead, not behind. You can trust reform to lead. Councillor Smith, I don't know why you're laughing. Listen, I don't know why you're laughing. You might be laughing now. Let's see how you are at the end of this meeting. You should be here under embarrassment, to be honest. Embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order.
Thank you, Chairman.
Councillors,
So, I'll reiterate.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
I will reiterate. Sorry, go on.
Points of order. Can we stop having these interruptions? It's just childish. This is a very serious matter and it's just stupid.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just reiterate the point that Councillor Gowland made.
thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll just reiterate the point as well, talking to members during a speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I carry on, Chair? Thank you. I'll reiterate. I would like to invite colleagues from across the chamber to support 1B option and invite you to work with us in the cross-party member working sessions to help develop the final proposal that delivers the best outcome for all our residents across the county. Let's look to the road ahead and not behind. You can trust our group to lead on this from the front. You can trust reform to get things done. Make the hard decisions and put residents first. And please remember, it's family, community and country. Thank you.
I call upon Councillor Martin Wright to second the motion.
Thank you, Chairman. I wholeheartedly support that motion. Thank you. Second the motion.
Are you reserving your right?
Are you reserving your right to speak?
I'm reserving the right to speak.
Thank you.
Mick, just your Thank you.
You want to speak?
Okay. You open the
Yeah.
debate and Councillor Smith would like to speak.
I will now open the debate. Speakers, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I've got an amendment from the Conservative group to move, please.
Councillor Sam Smith to move an amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What we've just heard from the Reform leader here is vote for us in May on empty promises and we'll betray you 6 months later. Empty promises, but lots and lots of betrayal. And the residents won't fall for it, Mick. They will vote you out. Look what's just happened in Broxtowe, and we're coming for your seats as well. Let's be absolutely. Oh no, we've come for you twice. We've beat you twice on the same message. It's going to come. Let's be absolutely clear, Madam Chairman. Nobody in this chamber from the outset has ever said that we or stood on an election pledge to put their residents in the city. No one's ever knocked on the door and said, I tell you what I'm going to do for you, Mr and Mrs Resident. I'm going to put you under the control of Nottingham Labour, a council that's bankrupt not once but twice, a council that provides inadequate care to your residents. But that is exactly what Reform are saying to the people of Broxtowe and Gedling. That is exactly what we're on the brink of putting forward now by Reform. And the Conservatives, just to be absolutely clear, the Conservatives say no, Madam Chairman. We say no to that. And that's why our amendment is fair, it's credible, and it sticks with option 2. The same option that I voted for and the Conservatives in March. The same option that K-Cuts brought forward in 2018. Why? Because it's financially sound. It's got a good business case. It will projected to save £27 million of annual savings through efficiencies. That's £27 million we can put into libraries. We can put into the roads of Gedling and Broxtowe and Rushcliffe and everywhere else. And £27 million we most definitely should be putting into extra services. That is what our amendment does. Option 2, what will it do straight away? It will save £8 million by avoiding the costly reorganisation. It will be £8 million plus the 27 million annual savings that we can put into local services, social care, children's services, libraries, etc. You want them in Broxtowe. You want them in Gedling, don't you? Do you, Councillor Gurley? Do you want them in Broxtowe and Gedling? Because you're just about to vote for them to close, and that is absolutely bonkers. Option 2 achieves investment in services, low council tax and better services. And the Reform Group's preferred option, which is 1B, would see that fail. Not only would it fail in Gedling and Broxtowe, it would fail in the remaining county of Mansfield, Newark and Ashfield, etc. And option 1E, which is the other alternative that we're all seem to be being shoved down a rabbit hole to pick from, would do exactly the same. Everybody with the 2 options that we're being asked to endorse, 1B or 1E, would pay more for less services, and it is not good enough. And we now face this extraordinary situation where members of Reform, who campaigned up and down the county and country, saying that they would not expand the city, you are about to vote exactly for that, and the residents will not forgive you for betraying them and throwing them down the river. And yes, those words are deliberate, because you stand on a platform and make promises and then break it within a year of getting elected. Well, colleagues, this isn't politics, that is betrayal. And we're told it's a free vote by the Reform lot. Let's see. You can stick with your residents today, like we're going to, on the Conservative benches, and stand up for Nottinghamshire. Stand up for the people who elected you and vote with our amendment, because our amendment will prevent Broxtowe and Gedling going in the city. And what would 1B do? Let's look at it. What would 1B do? If you live in Broxtowe in a Band D property today, and you get transferred to the city when you all put your hand up, 7% council tax difference. 7% council tax difference. That's £120 more a year in Gedling on a Band D property and £100 more in Broxtowe. I thought you stood on a pledge to prevent council tax rising. I've still got your leaflets, and we will be reminding the residents of that. Another betrayal, ladies and gentlemen, another betrayal, because that's all you get with Reform. Betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. And the residents will pay more for it. Lower quality services, fewer resources, and a council focused on the city centre, not the suburbs of the county, not Broxtowe and Gedling or Rushcliffe. And as I said, they've already had 2 Section 114 notices. Let's not do it again. 1E isn't an alternative because the same will happen. So the only option is to keep the county as is. And let's listen to the residents. There's
Councillor.
petitions all across.
30 seconds.
Thank you. There's petitions all across the county saying no to the city. There's been a protest out there saying no to the city. The Conservatives will listen to them, will protect the county, keep it together, save the £8 million and don't spend it on bureaucracy. Invest in services, invest in libraries, invest in roads, invest in social care. That's what we must do. Let's vote for the amendment and let's deliver on the election pledge that you got elected on. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Do I have a seconder?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I second the amendment and
Do you
reserve
reserve the
my
right
right
to
to
speak?
speak.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With this amendment coming to the table, I would normally, I'll ask, I'm going to say 2 minutes, but I'll ask for 15 minutes to give people the respect they deserve. Can we have a recess, please, for 15 minutes?
Right, I will adjourn this meeting for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
I can come back in if I need to explain what happens next, because it depends on the outcome of that vote. But at this point, members, you're invited to speak on the amendment for 5 minutes.
Just to clarify, Chairman, that's great, so we understand that, but if we speak on this bit, can we speak on the main item as well?
Yeah, yes.
That's it. Lovely, thank you.
My point was going to be, it depends on the outcome of the vote.
Yeah.
Councillor Matthews wanted to. Do you want to speak or point of clarification? Okay, we've got your name. Okay, so Councillor.
We've put your name on. So, Councillor Neil Clark, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I stand in support of the amendment. Rushcliffe and the other districts have thriving leisure centres run by them and many libraries run by the county. The borough in Rushcliffe, the borough hosts public events. There are many events held all around the county and organised by various people, the county and the districts, all very successful, attended by thousands, increasing in popularity year by year. All these would go if the city were to expand its boundaries into the neighbouring districts in the county. In the earlier stages of this process, Rushcliffe pursued a far more sensible option of dividing the geographical county into 3 councils, which left the city as it is and the remainder of the county divided into 2. It is most regrettable this did not gain sufficient support, as detractors just wanted to concentrate on finance and ignore the residents and the great services they receive in the county. That proposal was actually to achieve a very similar aim to this amendment now. This amendment seeks to ensure that services are not reduced, but maintained. Should the city expand, services will definitely suffer as money is diverted to pay off the city's monstrous debts, which in itself will prompt an increase in council tax for those taken over. A double whammy of bad news. Reform has been pushing the message about saving money. Well, this amendment would have the consequence of saving £8 million. So I'm sure Reform members will be happy to support this amendment. This debate should be about residents and businesses. Our residents in Rushcliffe have come to enjoy excellent services amongst the best in the country. Why should they sacrifice that? This amendment seeks to protect residents in the county from any reduction in standards of services they enjoy and to guard against extortionate rises in council tax. I'm sure there are many members here in this chamber who agree with protecting their residents from the bankrupt city. I look forward to them supporting us and voting in favour of this amendment. Sorry, I've just missed a bit here. So I will actually leave it there, Madam Chairman. I do hope that members will actually vote in favour of this amendment. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Lee, please.
Chairman, thank you very much. I'm going to apologise immediately because I'm going to read something, and for it to be word accurate, there are some slight vulgar words in here, and I apologise up front, but I need to read it word for word, otherwise I'll be accused of misleading the council. So I've got a Facebook message to Lee Anderson from Rich McDonald, and it starts, I'd like to hear your thoughts, Lee, on the Nottinghamshire County Council, led by Reform, voting of putting Gedling Borough Council with Nottinghamshire's bankrupt City Council. I'm in absolute shock at their position on this matter. Lee's response, word for word, this was a policy started by the Tories and is being forced on us by the Labour government. But don't listen to the idiots spreading lies. As soon as we are in government, we will scrap it. So what I did is I sent that screenshot to the Labour leader at Nottinghamshire District Council, Paul Peacock, and said, Paul, is this true? And Paul sent me an email back. I'm going to read again, word for word. Jono, the post is inaccurate. Conservatives may at some point consider a move to unitary authority in the past. Indeed, they commissioned PwC to quantify the savings of unitarisation in 2020, but they never were brave enough to make it their policy. The earliest that reform can be in government is 2029, though I doubt this will happen. The unitary authority election will be in 2027. The existing council is being devolved in 2028. So I'm going to just pause. So if that's the case, Lee was misleading the resident because they can't scrap it because it was already have happened. So now I'm going to carry on word for word from Paul Peacock. Of course, any government has the power to change laws and allow change to structures of local government. It would be interesting to see if that manifesto pledge from any political party in 2029. I don't know how Reform formulate their policies, but I have read past from Lee Anderson in the past claiming there are too many layers of local government, too many officers and too many councillors, etc. It seems to me any promises made on social media by any Reform politicians are empty, so take them with a pinch of salt. So what we have to remember is today is what you are voting for, no matter what Lee Anderson says, is you are voting to put certain areas into the city. So Lee can say what he wants on social media. We've had from the Labour leader at Nottinghamshire District Council that it will be too late and what is going to happen is going to happen. The only way that we can make sure that the county stays as a whole, that our schools are protected, that our libraries are protected, that our services are protected, is to keep it as a whole. Now, I noticed that lots of your councillors seem to be missing this morning. That is a shame. I hope some of you will be brave enough to say to Lee Anderson and the Reform leadership that our residents come first, they're the ones that put us here, and we will vote with our conscience. I will be voting with my conscience, and I will be voting to support our amendment that keeps Nottinghamshire as a whole. Thank you very much.
Councillor Garland to speak now, please.
Thank you. Here again, we are talking down our city. It's all of our city, okay? How many of you can hear little John from your houses? Everybody in Gedling, I think, many people in Gedling, many people in Rushcliffe. The city finances, a lot of lies are told about this. Yes, it has a higher band, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, a higher band D council tax rate than Rushcliffe. But you know what? The average council tax take per household, the average household spends is less because it's mostly band B houses. It's a poorer area. The city has a high debt. £700 million of that is the tram. How much has Broxtowe or Rushcliffe or Gedling contributed to that? Actually, I'm not sure about Gedling, but Rushcliffe or Rush, none. So they're happy to use the tram, but they're not contributing to it at all. They paid off a lot of their debt, £50 million last year. One of the reasons it's so poor is a lack of funding from the previous government. It's got plenty of reserves, £70 million of cash reserves. It's actually spent only, I think it's 7 million last year compared to 41 million of the Tory-led county council. We've got lovely events in Rushcliffe, but how many people in Rushcliffe went to the fairs on the beach in the city centre? How many people are going to go to the fairs on the Arboretum or the river embankment? Talking down our city is no good for anybody here. This is an economic unit, as I'm going to talk about later, of the whole of Nottinghamshire. If we keep telling everybody in the whole country, in the whole world, that our city is useless, we won't have people come and work here, we won't have businesses come here. This is no good, and it's lying, and you know it.
Thank you, Councillor Garland. Councillor Matthews, please.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Well, this is a bit like Brexit, this isn't it? Everybody's changing their mind. But I'll just give you, and I'll you might be free to mate. And on the first council meeting, we were called clowns in the circus. But this seemed to be a contortionist on the far end. And I'll read you a few things out. Conservative County Council who supported option 1 in Europe. Roger Jackson, John O'Lee, Sue Saddington. Conservative County Councillors who supported option 1 in Rushcliffe. Councillor Brown, Councillor Butler, Councillor Clark, Councillor Cotty.
Chairman, point of order. We won't give the option of 2.
what the councillor will know is when you are representing the county council, you are to put the county council first and foremost. When you are a district council, you are to put the district council first and foremost. You are allowed to make different decisions in different places depending on that. Now, going back to that, are you going to let me talk? No, we did ask for this to be put on as an amendment, and the Chief Executive in Nottinghamshire would refuse to let us to do so.
Councillor Lee. This was not a point of order. Councillor Matthews, please.
Carry on. Yeah, Councillor Upton, Councillor Wheeler. Now we go to Gedling, who voted for 1B. Councillor Adams, Councillor Sam Smith, and Councillor Bestwick.
Point of personal clarification.
Sorry, 1E, sorry.
I did not vote for 1B.
Yeah.
I have never
Sorry,
voted
1E, I
for 1B.
apologise.
I won't vote for 1B.
No, 1E, I apologise. So we've got about option 2. Option 2 doesn't meet any criteria for the government criteria level. Now we talk about wasting money. Rushcliffe Borough Council wasted £64,000 at KPMG doing a fancy brochure. We started with 9 options. We went down to 6 options. Now we're going to 3 options. And then we hear on the last minute, Rushcliffe want to go in with Newark, Sherwood and Gedling. This is the big boy time now, and the 41 people in our team are all together, led by our leader. It's 2025 now, not 1945 when we had borough councils and town councils. This is the real world to make the best for Nottinghamshire and Nottingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Gowland for defending the indefensible, the City Council. The people of Broxtowe pay for the tram by the fares they pay for using the tram. The people of Broxtowe pay for the beach by the entrance fee to go in the beach. So this nonsense that the leader of the City Council spouts about people in Gedling and Broxtowe and Rushcliffe using city facilities and not paying for them is absolute nonsense. It really is. Broxtowe Borough Council only has one leisure centre that it owns now, and that's as old as I am, 63. And like me, it's beginning to fall to bits. We want to change. We want to build a replacement leisure centre, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of money. I know that when one of these points is met, one of these dates that we've been told about along the line, the government will say, no more large spend. And then Broxtowe, unless it's got in before then, will not be able to build its new leisure centre. Do you really, really think that a council dominated by the city are going to build that leisure centre in Broxtowe? No, they will not. They will say, go to Harvey Haddon, it's just up the road. Well, no buses from Broxtowe to Harvey Haddon. Also, you may or may not know, because I think we're probably only one in Nottinghamshire that retained our housing stock. Broxtowe Borough Council owns its council houses. They're worth £750 million as an asset. That's what the city want. That's why they're so keen to take Broxtowe. But I'll tell you something, we're going to do everything possible at Broxtowe to prevent them from doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I do love a history lesson. I always find them entertaining, to say the least, specifically when history is incredibly inaccurate that's being talked about. Back on the 21st of September 2020, MP Lee Anderson, again, funnily enough, who happens to be mentioned a few times, made it clear on a Facebook post that I support having one unitary authority for the county, and exclaimed he was concerned about the level of inaccuracies that were being spread about the idea. So it's quite funny to sort of be sat here and being lectured about what we supposedly did with history and what we didn't do. The many things that we've done in this county have been specifically and fundamentally for the improvement of this county and the betterment of this county. Trying to shove Gedling and Broxtowe into the city is an awful situation for residents of Gedling and Broxtowe. And actually where we should be aiming for as a county is we should be focusing on the fact that in fact, I've been lectured once or twice in the past few weeks by reform councillors on my Facebook about how we should think about the whole of Nottinghamshire. The whole of Nottinghamshire is the way the decision. I think you may have said it earlier yourself, Councillor Barton. And if that's the case, then why are we throwing certain parts of the county under the bus? If the county is so important, why are we falling into line with Labour? If supposedly you aren't part of a uni party and you'll supposedly stand on your own, then why are you falling into line with Labour with this decision to not include all of the county's boroughs in its makeup? Surely that makes more sense. We have already a consistency of service. We already have a county that operates both the road services, as we know, the education services, the healthcare services, amongst many, many other things. So we already have things that bind us already. As we know, the rather large-shoed lady from the front bench of the Labour Party in Parliament, made it quite clear that she hasn't done the maths on what local government reorganisation will be. So we know for a fact as well that she doesn't know how much it's going to cost. So again, why are you backing a Labour government's plan and simplifying it to the point where it's so easy for them to make a decision and take Gedling and Broxtowe out of the equation? Why are you doing that? Why are you following them? Don't get it. It's weird. And there's nothing here stopping you from following the motion that we've put forward today and actually saying, do you know what, we're reform. We care about the whole of the county council and the shire like the Conservatives do. And what I find interesting is, again, someone else over there was quoting names of councillors that have voted, incorrectly I might add, in some part, and which areas they voted for. But history is a great thing until you come into the present. And the present is where you're all responsible for today. That's what you're responsible for, the here and now. This decision today is what you're responsible for. And your first crack at local government, some of you, do you want it to be dooming the likes of Gedling and Broxtowe to a city council that has got an inadequate service and also who's been closing libraries and also that has lost millions of pounds to an energy company? Now, Penny behind me will vehemently defend the county as she just did, because they have a belief. Sorry, do you have a point of order?
Can we become clear that we're not putting people into the city? If anything, Broxtowe and Gedling are going to take over the city.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it? So they're quite close, you know, if you look at it. But what's interesting about what's just been said there, though, so the staff from Nottingham City, where are they going to go then?
Stupid over.
Where are the people that have currently got healthcare services in the city? Where's that going then? Oh, where is it? So the Labour government have come up with millions and millions of additional funding to achieve this reorganisation that they haven't quantified under any circumstances. And you're clapping this. You're meant to be saying, you claimed during your election that you were all for the residents and you were trying to ensure that the council was saving money, and you're throwing them to an organisation with Labour that doesn't actually have an understanding or grasp of the figures it's going to cost to deliver it. I mean, really? Is that where we're at? I mean, honestly, I think I could have been watching Jack and Ori and had a better show. Thank you very much, Chairman. I appreciate the call. So, look, I just really want to say at this stage that I think it's a real shame that you're not seeing the bigger picture. It's a real shame. I understand you knew, I get that, and I understand you've just completed your training. I'm really glad to hear that, although, again, some people can't use microphones. But I'm glad that you've done that. What I'd like to see moving forward is maybe you start thinking as a county councillor and actually represent the whole of the county.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This Conservative amendment to bring back option 2, Nottingham City as one unitary and Nottinghamshire County as another. Let's just pause for one moment. This option was already dismissed as not fitting the criteria and therefore not deliverable. And yet here we are being asked to consider the unworkable. Residents deserve clarity and respect, but above all, certainty. Instead, this amendment would keep them in limbo and waste money and prevent officers from making the actual decisions that they need to make. This is nothing more than pure theatrics. They know it would never be accepted. The question that really needs to be asked, if the Conservatives truly believed in option 2, why the hell did they not deliver it when they had the chance 8 years ago?
Madam Chairman, point of order. Point of order. If you look back at the historical situation as far as when Kay was involved in trying to create unification, there was a power of veto.
And the district.
And so one district council could veto any proposal. And it was vetoed by Ashfield. So it was stopped by Ashfield. So you need to go and speak to Jason Dudrosny and ask him that question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'll carry on. I'll say again, why did they not deliver it when they had the chance? They had... You bottled it. You had control over this council for years and did absolutely nothing.
Can I repeat, the reason why we did not go down the unification route was because there was a power of veto allowed by central government. Jason Dudrosny voted against it. A power of veto means it stops it. One council.
Thank you.
How many times have I got to explain it?
Now sit down. Now, at the 11th hour, they wheel out option 2, as if it's a great new discovery and a new way forward. Where was this certainty when they had the power? The truth is simple, it's just grandstanding. Let's also not forget their record. This is the Conservative Party that has presided over some of the worst roads in the entire country. The same party that let our infrastructure crumble and left residents paying more for far less. Now they expect us to believe that they suddenly found the answer with some great revelation in an option that isn't even workable. Come on. Residents aren't stupid and they can see straight through this for what it actually is. Madam Chair, Nottinghamshire deserves better. Our residents deserve workable proposals and leadership, and we have that in our leader, Mick Barton. Otherwise, we will find ourselves totally at the mercy of Labour's central government bureaucrats. If the Conservatives had pushed option 2 through years ago when they had the chance, we would not even be here today discussing this. Instead, they bottled it and today rehashing it as this amendment. Personally, I wish they had pushed it through years back, Madam Chair, but alas, they didn't. Sadly, it's too late, and this is just nonsense from the party of largesse and squander. So I will be voting against it. Madam Chair, I just want to finish on this, though, and this is to Councillor Smith. His language of traitors and betrayal, language such as this is absolutely dangerous and disgusting. It's the language that led to the murders of Joe Cox and David Amis a few years back. So I would advise him to watch his words. I would hope that Councillor Smith and any other Conservative councillor reflect on that and maybe would like to offer an apology. Thank you.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, sorry. Point of clarification.
The chairman...
I've been called over the last few days far more than a betrayer. And I've been called that by people I know who are members of Reform. So for you to call for him to apologise, no, he shouldn't apologise because he's absolutely right. Yeah. So don't come with your double standards to this chamber.
Councillors, I would like to speak now. Points of order and personal explanations. With the consent of the chairman, I didn't give you my consent to make some of these accusations. Any councillor may make a brief comment, ask a question designed to clarify a matter which has been raised, or where they indicate the procedure rules have not been followed. They may not introduce new material or make a speech on the issue raised. The chairman of the County Council's ruling will be final, and they may limit such exchanges to maintain the flow of debate. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, just on what you just said. Thank you.
Yeah, you may speak now.
I'd just like to fully support what you've just said, and everybody on this side of the House will concur with what you've just said and stick to the rules of the House. Thank you, Madam Chairman, for making that very clear.
So we'll continue. I will now ask Councillor Saddington to speak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's just been mentioned that residents aren't stupid. I can assure you, residents are not stupid. I represent in excess of 23 parish councils throughout the district and county wards and division that I represent. They have, without exception, said to me they do not want Nottinghamshire County Council to become part of the city in any way by any borough or district joining the city. They don't want to see a major change at county. I would never vote for the residents who voted for me to have their lives substantially changed by us moving to allow certain boroughs to move to Nottingham City, which I believe has been bankrupt twice. If this happens, services without exception will be cut for the county residents. They are asking me not to support this change. And I can assure them today that I will not support this change. I will not have my residents in any way affected by Broxtowe, Gedling, and whichever borough anybody decides to take, affected to the fact that they will have to pay more council tax. It affects the elderly, it affects the young who are sending children to school, it affects everybody's pocket. And I'm not going to stand here and allow my residents to have to pay more money. So never will I have my name attached to anything regarding Nottingham City. I was not voted to represent them to break that contract, and I will not do it, and I will be supporting our amendment. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Fudgehoe, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if this should have been raised as a point of order or something before, but Councillor Adams used some quite offensive, misogynistic language about the Deputy Prime Minister when he was speaking, and that cannot be allowed to go. It's hard enough being a woman in politics without actually having insults exchanged about nuclear in the chamber. And funnily enough, looking at this chamber, nobody called it out, so I thought I had to.
I think we'll take this outside of the meeting, if you don't mind. Thank you. Councillor Adams.
Point of personal clarification, no, it was absolutely not that. I was referring to somebody's footwear. I never mentioned anything about anything else. Somebody mentioned my footwear. In fact, it was on social media or around the WhatsApp groups, I understand, about the fact I wasn't wearing socks last week. I think we can confirm that, can't we? So let's all be grown-ups and not start pointing fingers and claiming everything. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Just bear that in mind, please.
Of order.
All of you.
Point of order, Chairman. I'm sorry, in local government, we have freedom of speech and freedom of expression in chambers as council elected members. If you don't like what somebody says, put it in as a code of conduct complaint. We have the right to represent our residents.
Councillor Mason, please, I'd like you to speak.
Morning, everybody. I'm not a veteran of this chamber, and I'm listening, and I'm finding it hard to follow why people are talking about my residents, my residents, my residents. We're here for Nottinghamshire today. We're not here to get votes. And I'm very sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I wonder if the people speaking for this amendment have actually read the Labour instructions on LGR, that the minimum number for a unit of a council is 500,000 people. Now the city totals 360,000. So somebody has got to go with the city. Now this is not something Reform want. We haven't asked for this. The government are imposing this. So if you're fighting for an option that's going to be refused because it hasn't followed the criteria, carry on, but you're not doing any favours to Nottinghamshire, because this will then pass to the hands of the Labour government, and then they're going to charge and carve in Nottinghamshire how they want to. So I'm very sorry that Nottingham City has not got 500,000 people. I am sorry, because if it had, it could go on its own. But it don't fit the criteria at the minute, and the Labour government won't have it. It won't get passed. And stop talking about your residents. This is Nottinghamshire residents we're here for today.
Councillor Cullen, please.
Morning, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, morning, Madam. Do you know, this is a rabbit hole. We're having this whole debate based on a criteria set by a government that imposed this on us. And any sensible person, I hear people in this chamber say, you know, I run businesses, I do this, I do that. I've been running charities all my life. We never, ever set out about doing anything without planning it properly. Yeah. This is a rabbit hole. We have got preset criteria and being forced to make decisions that are all bad decisions based on something that nobody's even told us why. And Councillor Gowland, you know, we wish we could be proud of our city. We wish we could be proud of our city.
We used to be.
But, you know, the city is in a state. It's dangerous. As a woman of my age, I can't safely go into the city and feel safe late at night. I can safely go into any area in Broxtowe, Mansfield, Worksop, I often do, but I don't feel safe in the city. And we need it to be different. The city is not paying off its debts like by working hard and earning more money. It's selling off its assets in a fire sale. It's sold off its community centres, its industrial units, car parks, anything it can get rid of. And it still has millions of debt. And if this, and I completely understand it, because trust me, I know more than most what happens to you if you're a Labour member and you challenge them. I'm sitting in this chamber because I know more than most. But Labour would have you believe that this is going to be a new authority. The city is already a unitary authority. It's not going to be a new authority. It's not. Its offices will be the same offices. Its staff will be the same staff. Its debt will be the same debt. If I had to make a choice, none of the choices, my choice would be, if we are going to do this, do what anybody else in the world would do and do it properly and delay this whole thing so it can be well thought out and well organised. I am not dancing to the Labour Party's tune. I am not. So I'm going to abstain from this amendment because I'm not dancing to this tune and being led down a rabbit hole so we can be blamed later when it doesn't work because we know it won't work. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Green now to speak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to commend all my colleagues because, frankly, as we can all agree, actually, which would be a nice thing to do today, is that this is an absolute mess. And I don't think anyone asked for it, but we are where we are. And sometimes, in my short life in this area of politics, is the reason I stood up is you have to make tough decisions, and you have to make decisions that you might not always like, but it requires the maturity to get on with it. I want to commend my colleagues because since day one, we've come through these doors, and factually speaking, we shouldn't be here. We should not be here. And I look around at all of you, we should not be here. Nevertheless, we are, and we've worked tirelessly every single week to thoroughly scrutinise all these options. And I want to say to anyone watching up there and anyone who's watching online, we are taking this really seriously, and we are doing our very best to navigate through it because it's really complex. And there's been times in the last couple of months where even I've gone, making sense of these options can be quite confusing. So I want to apologise to also all the residents that this isn't too clear. But what I will say is a couple of things. One, in our thoroughness to seek professional advice in every area and working under this criterion that's been working across the nation, we've sought professional advice off directors in the county, and we could go about our own way and say, we'll do what we want, we're in charge. But what Reform's way of doing is saying, let's seek wisdom, let's seek counsel, let's ask for advice. And in doing so, as you'll see in page 17 in your documents, point 64, under my honour that I've been given to serve the children of this county and Mr. Answer down there, both of them have unequivocally said that under the risk implications that they're happy to go with 1B as the option. Secondly, what I wanted to say was at Councillor Smith. I've enjoyed speaking with you genuinely in private. As you know and I know, we've talked to seek a smooth transition with my portfolio. So I want to thank you for meeting with me. I've made attempts to help the people of Nottinghamshire as best as possible, but I'm a bit confused, Councillor Smith, by your position. And I'm not a leader, but leadership's a tough game. It can be lonely at times, but I am confused at your position. And I would like you to try and clarify that today for the people of Nottinghamshire, for the influence that you have over the people. On the 30th of July this year, you made a 4 for extraordinary LGR meeting, and you voted for discovering and backing option 1E. So today you're here saying to the people it's option 2. So I wanted to clarify, for the people's sake, not for me, but more so for the people's sake, as a leader of such a party, what is your position today? Because I'm confused, and I'm sure the people are. And you're going around in elections and doing a great job, working hard, but your position keeps changing. And I appreciate you care about the residents, but one thing is confusing to me is your position is shifting back and forth, and it's being perceived in a certain way where your integrity could be questioned. So
just Madam Chairman, if I may, a point of personal clarification. I won't talk about integrity when you sit next to Reform colleagues who put leaflets out at the elections saying they weren't going to put any part of the county in the city, and here we are under a Reform administration proposing such that. Just to clarify my personal voting record, which has been brought into question kindly by Councillor Green, and I thank him for allowing me to clarify that. At this county council, when I was the leader in March, we voted for option 2. Option 2 work's been done the same to this point, as has been done on 1B and 1E. At Gedling Borough Council, where I represent the borough of Gedling, I was presented with a recommendation of endorsing 1E, which would have protected Gedling from the city. Working behind the scenes, and sorry, Councillor Clark, to release this information, working behind the scenes with the honourable and fantastic Borough Council leader that is John Clark, I got an amendment into that recommendation before the meeting. That amendment under recommendation C, it's public on the Gedling Borough Council website, was that the council will continue to explore other options. And that's what I voted for. Other options, option 2, or Rushcliffe, Gedling, Newark. Let's do the other options. Let's have the work done. That is fact, Councillor Green, because I care about the whole of Nottinghamshire.
Facts, right? Before you open your mouth.
How rude.
Will you just please control yourself, Councillor Lawton? That was totally unnecessary.
Hold on, Chairman.
30 seconds left now to finish the speech.
Sorry, I was just waiting for your voice to speak first. Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. In conclusion, we are doing our absolute best for people. We are taking this really seriously. I personally going to vote against it, and Councillor Smith, I'd like to speak to you again maybe another time, because I'm not too clear on your position, and yeah, I thank you for your clarification anyway. Thank you. Well done, Rory.
Councillor Walter, please, to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councillor Smith, you recently ran a borough election, so you're defending your integrity in this situation. You have a Facebook post that went out literally saying that we're the only party that will not put you in, will not put Broxtowe in with the city. So how do you defend that one? Except for option 1E, which is Broxtowe in the city.
I don't point of clarification, Madam Chairman. I don't know what the obsession is about my voting record. Just to be absolutely clear, in March, Councillor Smith voted for option 2, which is the council-only option. In Gedling Borough Council meeting, Councillor Smith voted for other options to be explored. I have never voted for option 1B.
Sit down. Let the councillor speak.
I wasn't talking about 1E, I was talking about your lack of integrity, saying that Broxtowe won't go in with them when they are with 1E. So it's all right, never mind. The duty
Point of clarification, read the paper, James. Option 1E, option 1B is Broxtowe and Gedling. I have never voted for option 1B. Get it right.
Apologies, Madam Chair. I've got it on my phone.
Let it drop. Well said, Chairman.
Well said.
Apologies to everyone here. I did not mean to make it personal. It's quite difficult when people are saying things. It was not you, Sam, that actually got me frustrated there. It's the partner next to you attacking people, and it's double standards everywhere. It's so frustrating. Anyway, the duty we have is to the whole county of Nottinghamshire, as we keep saying. Our duty is to the people of Nottinghamshire to make sure that we shape local government in a way that delivers the best services, the best value, and the strongest future to our county. In this case, the job has been made more difficult by central government's criteria. It's been set by Labour this time around. This is not about selling out our communities, handing them over to Nottingham City, because in fact, as we all know, the City Council as it exists today will no longer exist under reorganisation. That narrative is false and misleading to the public. Elected members using this subject as a scare tactics to win votes serves only their own interests. Many of us could soon be campaigning in this new unitary authority, and we will have a responsibility to ensure that local residents' voices will be heard, their services protected, and their communities are represented effectively. This means engaging early, shaping policies to avoid asset stripping, poor service delivery, and holding the new authority to the highest standards of accountability, transparency, and the best value. A strong, united, determined administration grounded in common sense will ensure that any post that was previously responsible for mismanagement would not continue to do so.
Part of LGR has been made clear that the City Council have a target to bring their finances in line by 2028. Any new organisation will inevitably come with uncertainty, but it's our responsibility to make it work. We must take it seriously, engaging fully with the process, shaping it for the benefit of residents and ensuring that services, assets and governance are managed effectively from day one. While most staff transfer automatically, senior management, such as chief execs, do not get to keep their post by default. Every past reorganisation has merged multiple senior roles into a single post, with appointments made by the shadow authority or a senior appointments committee. As for elected members, all current mandates will end and councillors will need to stand for election in the new authority if they wish to continue in office. I want to acknowledge the difficulty of the decision for everyone in here. This is not an easy decision. We all know this. Let's bring it back to where we are, serving the people, not self-interests. So it's a difficult decision. Tempers can get high. We understand that. We are here for the people, for the county. I'd also like to thank the officers who are also affected by this decision for their hard work so far and the support moving forward. They've done a lot of work on this. This is evidence-based. Option 2 is not evidence-based. We all know this. It's a little bit of a sad situation that we're back here again after having all this time, even since the interim proposal. And what disappoints me most is that certain groups are choosing to play politics with this issue rather than deal with the facts. They've had many years to think about this, to generate alternative proposals and to make a case for them. They've had the time, they did not use it. Now at the 11th hour, they want to attempt to shout down those of us who are actually taking responsibility and making decisions. Our duty here is not to protect political turf, to posture for headlines. Our duty is to the people of Nottinghamshire, to make sure we shape local government in a way that delivers best services, best value and the strongest future for our county. 1B is not perfect, we know that, but that is what a vote for 1B will do. Knowingly voting for an option that does not meet the government's stated criteria would mean failing in our best value duty. You're all aware of that. It could waste around £300,000 of taxpayers' money on a proposal that is highly unlikely to be approved.
Councillor.
Highly unlikely to be approved by the Minister, and we would also have to assume that both the Commissioners and the Mayor would object to such an approach. Option 1B is evidence-based, option 2 is not. I will not be backing the amendment. Let's show how a united party does things.
Councillor Pearson, please.
Thank you very much. I'll try and spread a bit perhaps of light rather than heat, given some of the conversations that we've had earlier. I think the first thing I would say is I've heard a lot about democracy and about listening to the people. Yet we have a survey or a consultation that is out, and that's not due to be returned until September the 15th. Now, why are we having this meeting a few days before then? Is it perhaps that some people don't want to hear what the people think? Because we know what a lot of people think. We know that 15,000 people in Rushcliffe, for example, have signed the petition against going in with the city. The people outside that you saw on the way in from Broxtowe and Gedling seem to be of that view. And I think that's a bit suspect. I'm sorry. The responses to the government don't need to go in until the end of November. And so to talk about democracy is a little bit puzzling. The other thing we've heard people say that we absolutely have to follow the government's requirements in terms of 500,000. I'd invite you to look at page 22 of the report and the letter from MHCLG. They talk about 500,000. This is a guiding principle, not a hard target. We understand that there should be flexibility. So to say that we have to go down a certain route is not necessarily correct. And my understanding is the view of the government keeps changing. They're aware that proposals like this are unpopular all over the place. So we shouldn't be here today, frankly. I think this meeting is premature. But while we are here, I would support the amendment. Thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. I've actually changed what I was going to say because a couple of points have already been made, so forgive me. We've heard a lot about residents today, and quite rightly we should. The Shire versus local is absolutely key. And I do feel for my colleagues who find themselves conflicted, and I have no doubt they will act with the honour and integrity that the office requires. One of the key elements that needs to be discussed is adult social care. We've heard about the residents, and that's exactly what we're here for, all the residents of Nottinghamshire. But quite simply, option 2, which has been extensively worked up by the officers, does not support a workable model of adult social care. Quite simply, therefore, it does not work for the residents. That work has been done. It has been discounted as inappropriate and unworkable for adult social care. There is no point, therefore, in voting for something in the name of residents that doesn't work for them. I would like to ask a couple of questions, really. I'd like some clarification. And when the amendment was introduced, it was introduced as a Conservative amendment. But I'm a bit confused because one of the opposition describes themselves as an independent. One of the opposition describes themselves as no longer in a party that he can actually recognise. And a third one, I think, is even looking to join Reform. So I am actually concerned that this is not actually a Conservative amendment, but a rather bitter attempt from a fragmented opposition. As ever, I always enjoy listening to Councillor Smith talking. And I do wish he'd come with the volume control, though, to be frank with you. But I do realise that his time in telesales has made him well prepared for trying to sell absolute rubbish to the public.
Thank you, Councillor. I now call on Councillor Wheeler to speak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. What I find interesting is we talk about the proposal being 11th hour. The proposal that we are putting the member forward today is actually the current council policy, because what was voted on in March and actually voted on by your deputy leader as well. So it can't be that bad a proposal if you went to that person as your deputy leader and deputy leader of the council. And I think what's also crucial to say is here, when we talk about city council takeover, I completely agree with Councillor Cullen's comments. In any other walk of life, if a large organisation goes with a much smaller organisation, it's called a takeover. And that is why it is. And ultimately, it would be the vast majority of the current city officers who would be stupid over, and the vast majority of councillors currently in the city who would have the chance to stand in those boundaries, also be more weight in favour of the current city, which is why we refer to it as a takeover. And from knocking on doors on the street, that's what most people refer to it as well. And I think what's really crucial for me is the reason to put this proposal forward is we don't like pitting area against area. As someone in Rushcliffe, I'm being asked to effectively vote for to put Gedling and Brox in the city. I don't want to do that. I'm not that cruel. And the fact is, I'm having to do that because I'm trying to protect my residents in Rushcliffe in other options. So this is why it doesn't work and why we want to keep going forward with the current policy of option 2. It's also worth saying, we've been saying discounts on finance reasons. We've already seen the government admitted that they didn't do their own proper research into it and using figures that were questionable at best. That's me being nice. So I think it shows that the finance can be really looked at again, and this proposal will work. In terms of the City Council, the reason why the vast majority of residents don't want to join there is because they are scared what's going to happen to them. For example, one of the biggest issues on doorstep for me wasn't just the high council tax and the inept running of the City Council, was the parking levy. Right, residents in West Bridgeford, that I represent West Bridgeford South, having to pay to park their cars at work. And we already know the huge impact it's had on businesses in the city, and my residents don't want to have to stand. That's just one example. It's not really talked about. And why, when we talk about, we said about residents in Rushcliffe don't pay for the tram. If you are a resident in Rushcliffe or Gedling or Brox or anywhere in the county and you work in the city, paying the parking levy, that was brought in to help pay for the tram because of how ineptly it was put in and cost. And also, we say about people in Rushcliffe not having to pay for the tram, they pay by having a huge wildlife corridor ripped up to put in the tram, which is supposed to be making the tram the area more green. Well, I'll say that to the residents who have seen the amount of work that's been done to rip out green areas, to bring in a tram, serve an area that had a bus service going 5 minutes before the tram was brought in. It's also worth saying as well, this whole process is taking money away from residents in Nottinghamshire. How much money are we spending as an authority on this proposed LGR? How much officer time is going on LGR? I know from Rushcliffe, where I'm cabinet member, the amount of time we're spending to talk about LGR and officers on there, where we want to be talking about delivering services. I know there'll be the same here, and it was the same when I was cabinet member here in the last administration. So this is why the whole process doesn't make sense. It's built on numbers that don't make sense. It's going against residents' will. And also, again, to remember, we as Conservatives, all the way back in all the past administrations, we've never voted for any of our areas in the city. And that's why we are being firm on that at the time. We're still going to firm that today with our new proposal. So that's why I really hope everyone can support the amendment today. It means that you can honour the pledges that you made to your residents in the county council election to keep your areas outside the city and vote for a credible option that, again, protects our areas and also ensures that we can live the best value money for our residents. Thank you.
Councillor Darrington, please.
Lovely.
Lovely. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to keep this really, really simple, but this is my philosophy, and it's been so since May, since I was elected. Basically, my view, we need to eat from the table of negotiation. We need to eat from that table. We cannot be made to starve behind a locked door. It is about trust. We cannot trust Labour to work with a Labour City Council and produce the right outcome for our great county and our great people of this county. It is that simple. Thank you.
Councillor Girling to speak, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Just want to raise something first before I go into about what the matter we're talking about is we keep hearing that, oh, keep it civil, keep it that. But the only people I've heard putting insults over at councillors is from you lot. You've just had a go at 3 councillors in your speech. So if you're going to have it, let's have it on a level playing field.
Councillor Girling, can we
That's
just
true.
get
That
to the
is true.
point, please?
Well, I will be getting to the point. I will be getting to the point. So let's stop the personal attacks. Let's actually stick to what we're actually supposed to be debating. We're all entitled to our opinions. I am doing. If you give me time, Chairman, I will do. We're all entitled to our opinions. Absolutely are. On this side, we're allowed to express them. You know, we're not banned from talking to the press, and we don't have to phone Lee Anderson up if he can say anything. Right, so let's get on to the actual issue then, shall we? Because I've heard a couple of you actually say it's about Nottinghamshire. Absolutely, it's about Nottinghamshire. But some of the councillors are representing areas that you want to allow to go into the city, right? And they're not happy with that because their residents have been telling them they don't want that. So that's for them to do. I represent Newark West Division, took it off reform. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many votes, 1 vote's enough, you lost. Yeah, anyway, so, but the reason I'm speaking now, I mean, I didn't have to change parties because I knew I'd lose. Yeah, to go to reform because I knew I'd lose if I stayed with my party. So that's another issue. But anyway, the reason that it needs to be raised is by putting these elements into the city, you're losing the preset from that area, okay? Now, those areas, the money that they put into the system, they don't use as much as they do up in the north. Yeah. So in those people that represent Bassetlaw, Ashfield, Mansfield, Newark and Sherwood, you're depriving your residents of an income, which means that's got to be replaced. And that's going to have to be replaced by what? Putting the council tax up. Because that's the only way they'll do it. That's the only way they'll maintain the services. And you are going to be voting, no matter where you represent. It's all right to say, oh, that's a Gedling problem, that's a Broxtowe problem, that's a Rushcliffe problem. It's your problem as well, because you'll be voting to put council tax up in your area to pay for the services, because there's not enough money up there to pay for the services that are required. Yeah. So that's one point. Now, I've read lots of reports. I've been a councillor for 20 years. So I've read lots and lots of reports. But I've never seen one, I don't think, I'll have to jog my memory more, where an option, so one of the options has got nothing, not one thing positive about it. Not one thing. So you're telling me that option 2 has got nothing positive to it. Even though the report said the best option for the residents, so it might not be financially, it might not be anywhere, is option 2. So nothing. And it's got things in it. So here's a thing, right? It might leave communities that their identity with the city in a different geography. I mean, what planet is that on? People go from all over this county into Nottingham. They go to Sheffield. They go to Lincoln, right? They know their identity. They don't need the local authority to tell them what their identity is and where they're associated with. That's just a blooming nonsense. That's just to make it so we've got loads of reasons why we shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, you're being suckered. You're being drawn in by the Labour and by this report, quite frankly, into going down an option that you don't really know what it's going to do. And you're hoping that it's going to be all right for you. And I suspect, actually, one of your motivations is if we give them Broxtowe, if we give them Rushcliffe, if we give them Gedling, then actually we might then win the city. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Because we've got no chance of winning the city if it stays as it is. And I think that might be a motivation. So don't give me that rubbish about you thinking about your residents, because you're not. Well said.
You have 30 seconds, Councillor Girling.
Thank you. I only need 30. Another point was made about reducing CEOs down. Well, option 2 reduces it down to 1. Yeah. Option 2B and 2E, you're going to have 3. So you're not even doing down the line that you say you're going to do. So there's going to be three councils. Time's up. Time's up. 3 councils then. 2. Anyway, 2 councils. Doesn't matter. There's still more. The point is,
Councillor Girling, time is up. Please sit down.
Cheaper. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Brill, please, to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't going to speak on the amendment. My comments will be brief, and I certainly won't reiterate anything that's been said already. I have to say that local government, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been a member of a unitary council. I've been an employee of a council, and as far as it's relevant, I've been an employee of a county council in East Midlands, and I've worked externally in advised councils. And one of the things that you learn, and I'm a lawyer, by the way, get that out there. One of the things that you learn when you work in local government is that you have to listen and follow and make sure that you understand what central government is saying to you. Because at the end of the day, central government always has the whip hand, in the relationship between local government and central government. And if you read all the documentation, as I'm sure we all have, it's all fairly familiar to me. It's the sort of thing I've been reading for the last 30 odd years of my career. And I'm not a great fan of the Labour government, and I'm certainly not a fan of what is happening. But there is one thing they have managed to do right, and this will be because they've listened to the lawyers. The lawyers have told them that to be immune from judicial review, that when you set out your criteria, and then you give feedback and you engage and you respond with the other authorities. And by the way, it almost sounds as though this is only happening in Nottinghamshire. Believe it's happening across the whole country, would you? The lawyers have said to them, you have got to make sure that your criteria are consistent, because if it changes and there are mixed messages, you're going to be in difficulty. Now, we've heard this suggestion that the interim report in June somehow muddied the waters and made this 500,000 figure flexible. If you look at the documents in the whole, it is remarkably consistent. In fact, the white paper says we're aiming to address the problems of two-tier areas and smaller cities that are not viable. And whilst I'm simply not a fan of the Labour government, I'm certainly not a fan of the Labour municipal city council that we've had for the last few decades. But there's one thing you can't blame Labour City for. You can't blame them for the size and the boundaries that they have been given, because that, again, is imposed by central government. So any proposal that does not address the problem of a population that is not around the 500,000 minimum figure, it has to have a compelling case why that would be viable. And we know that the city population is just over 300,000, give or take, nowhere near the threshold. So that's proposal 2, which it says here, the weakest option. That's diplomatic language. I'd call it the fail option. Okay, the fail option is going nowhere. It's going like the option that Surrey put in, that hit none of the criteria and goes straight in the bin. We are trying to avoid a situation where we give this mob in London a blank cheque to impose on us whatever the hell they want, which they might do anyway. So when we look at this amendment, it is a fail amendment. It is a blank cheque amendment. It is an in the bin amendment. It doesn't address any of the criteria, and I'm voting against it.
Councillor Roger Jackson to speak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First, a little bit of clarification of what happened at Newark and Sherwood. We were not allowed to vote on option 2. We put an amendment forward for a debate to have it included, but it was voted down by the Labour administration. So we only had 1B or 1E to vote on. So, but we've always been in favour of option 2. Let's put that straight, you know. But I ask members here who represent people in Broxtowe, Gedling and Rushcliffe, have you had any support from your residents for going in with the city? I bet you haven't, but I bet you've had a lot of emails saying we don't want to be part of the city. Yeah. So I ask members to vote for what your residents want. And the residents who voted you in to sit in these seats represent them. That's right. Today. We talk about criteria, the 500,000. That wasn't set in stone. It was a guideline. And yes, Labour will probably just throw everything out. But here we have a chance to put forward an option that is best for the residents of Nottingham. And I ask you to vote with your hearts. Yes, Labour will probably throw it out, as I said before. They'll probably throw 1B and 1E out as well and come up with some hybrid option, which nobody wants. But here we are representing the residents. And I know the residents have emailed lots of members saying they don't want to be part of the city. So let's stand up as a county and be obstruction to the Labour government. Say, we want option 2. Yes, it won't get through, but at least we are standing as a county representing our residents. Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Foscio to speak, please. Thank you. Councillor Lawton, you reserved your right to speak. Would you like to speak now?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. If I may, I'm going to speak to the substantive motion as well, but just a few points of clarification, really. I think it's really, really important, and this is not me getting at you guys, but it's that you get your facts right, okay? And that you do your research necessary so that you don't inadvertently mislead people, the members in this council chamber. And I will give you a classic example, is that the minister wrote to this council on the 3rd of June, expressing a summary of his feedback. And he's put the criteria asked for the consideration should be given to the impacts of the crucial services such as social care, children's services, SEND and homelessness, and the wider public services including public safety. Now, the reason why he did this is because 73% of our demand for adults and young people services comes from mainly your area, which is Mansfield and Ashfield. So what our residents do is, our residents in Rushcliffe, our residents in Gedling, our residents in Broxtowe, our residents in Newark and Sherwood, we subsidise you. We send the majority of our money for adult social care and young people services into your area. And we do it willingly. And the reason why we do it is because we recognise we are corporate parents. We are here to look after the vulnerable people of Nottinghamshire. Nottingham City is failing. The last thing I want to do is hand some of my residents that I've been looking after for the last 25 years, some of them, back into the hands of a failing authority. Yeah. It is wrong. You should not be doing it. Now, if you take Gedling and Broxtowe, you reduce our ability by taking the funding. You reduce our ability to look after your residents that you represent, 73% of them. And you are voting today or supporting today 1BI. That is wrong. That is morally wrong. That Nolan principle, moral, That is what is wrong today, and that is why you should be supporting this amendment. The Minister also wrote to us, and he said, and here's me saying, get your facts right, in some options we are considering populations that would be below or above 500,000. There is no fixed figure. And not only that, he's also rowed back on changing boundaries. No, that's what he's done. So the Minister himself has altered the proposals, and you are blindly following down a route that will fail. It's already failed. It failed back in 1970, and we had to change it in 1997. It's failed. You are following a failing route. Please listen to what I've got to say. Protect your residents. Protect your vulnerable residents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sam Smith, please, to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I'd like to start by thanking the whole chamber for what was at sometimes a passionate debate, but I think that's absolutely right. The residents of Nottinghamshire listening in at home want to know that their councillors are making decisions for the right reasons, and this decision facing us today is the biggest shake-up to local government in 50 years, and it is absolutely right that we do the right thing for our residents. In summing up, I'm just going to respond to a few points, if I may, Madam Chairman. I think Councillor Gowland deserves a medal or maybe a round of applause for highlighting what is probably the only possible good thing about the city centre, and that's the tram. That's the tram. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a tram system that is completely bankrupt. Somebody told me the other day it loses £100 million a year. No wonder why the socialists encourage it. And thankfully, Gedling and Broxtowe didn't pay into it. Thank God for that. Thank God for that, because if they did, they would have wasted tax money that should have been going on parks and leisure facilities instead, and they've managed to do that. And under the Conservative administration of Councillor Kay Cutts, guess what the County Council refused to do? Refused to pay into it because it is bankrupt and completely useless. So I totally agree with Councillor Carr's point. He made the point absolutely clearly that residents of Gedling, Rushcliffe, Broxtowe and anywhere else in the country who come to Nottingham pay for the services in Nottingham when they use them. They pay to attend the beach in the city. They pay to enjoy their leisure facilities. They pay for the bus, and they would pay for the embankment event that's lovely outside County Hall every year. But guess what? They can't afford to do it this year, so it's not happening because they've completely wasted taxpayers' money on things such as Robin Hood Energy. Anybody remember that? Cost about £40 million. Broadmarsh Centre, still not built, another tens of millions of pounds. Nottingham Castle, that the taxpayers of Nottingham paid for, not open at the moment, complete waste of money. Libraries and community centres in Nottingham City, what's happening to them now? Walk down the high street, I'll tell you what's happening to them. They're being boarded up, they're closed.
Councillor Garland. I think Councillor Garland
Sorry,
wants to
I
make
just
a
like point of information. The embankment event was cancelled by the private company that was running it.
Well,
Nothing to do with funding.
well, thank you for that interjection. I haven't seen the City Council putting shovels in the ground and building the fair rides and the facilities for everybody to enjoy because they ain't got the money to do so. Rushcliffe do, that's what happens there. The libraries and community centres that are closing in Nottingham City, the overwhelming debt that everybody's paying off and the high council tax that they're all paying is exactly what will come to the residents in Gedling, to the residents in Broxtowe or to the residents in Rushcliffe if we go down this rabbit hole of 1B and 1E. Counties in every part of this county deserve better than that, and we must not vote to put them in that position. We must not vote to put the elderly people that we care for in our communities into a service that is rated inadequate, and that service will continue to be the service. There is no money coming from the Department for Health and Social Care to set up new care providers. It is not happening, ladies and gentlemen. You will get care from somewhere that's rated inadequate. Councillor Stoll then goes on in his rant that option 2 has been dismissed by the government. Councillor Stoll, that is complete and utter nonsense and not true. Option 2 has been worked up to the same standard as 1B and 1E. It's in the papers, it's still feasible. Let's vote for it and let's protect the residents of Nottinghamshire. Councillor Mason then goes on and says, oh, but option 2 doesn't meet the criteria of 500,000 and we must do it on district and borough boundaries. The Minister for Local Government sent a letter to this council at the same time that he was on his feet in the House of Commons updating the bill that said they have acknowledged feedback from councils across the country and the 500,000 is no longer a target. No. Oh, and what about the district boundaries? They're no longer a target either. It is now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what it is, a guiding principle. No. That's what it is now, a guiding principle, watered down, and you're being hooked into believing that it hasn't. You're being sold complete untruths. I don't know who by, but it is absolute nonsense. Go and listen to the Minister himself. In fact, the letter goes on and says that we welcome other proposals that are based on local need. I'll tell you what the local need of Nottinghamshire is, if you don't know. It is not closing council services, it is not closing libraries, and it's certainly not putting their council tax up. I can assure you of that. Councillor Cullen, absolutely spot on. It will not be a new authority, I've already said it. Same service providers, same awful standards of service, same high council tax, same debt. Gedling, Broxtowe, Rushcliffe and everywhere else deserve better. Councillor Gurney is spot on. And what I'm saying is option 2 protects local services, keeps council tax low. Vote for it because it's what your residents want. Sorry, can I move and record the vote? No. Oops, sorry.
Councillor Stoll then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, I'll be very brief. I didn't take too kindly to Councillor Smith's... Sorry? Point of personal clarification. I didn't take too kindly to Councillor Smith's mocking, patronising tone towards Cathy Mason. And I forget who it was. I think it was Councillor Gowland or somebody, Councillor Paggio, was it, that made reference to a misogynistic tone. I've just seen the same thing from Councillor Smith there. You know exactly what you did. The sneering, childlike tone. That was a clear reference to to Councillor Mason. So I think you should apologise again. That's 2 apologies today. Why are you guys just so rude?
Councillor,
thank you.
Stop you there. Can I call on Councillor Mick Barton to speak, please?
Well. I'm going to put that down a minute. Councillor Gowland made some very valid points. You're right. This ain't about... It's on. Oh, all right. Fair enough. I'll hold it here. Is that better?
Chairman, point of order. If we're talking about being polite, he should be addressing you, not his back. You are the chairman. He should be speaking to you.
With all due respect, I'm speaking to a fellow councillor and I'm congratulating her on what she said. So I'd like to thank you for what you said. You made some very valid points. And one point you did make clear, in this 2 unitary option, it's going to be a brand new unitary. It's not the city. A lot of you, what are you laughing at? You've obviously not read your paperwork. You have obviously not read your paperwork. That side of the house, you have not read your paperwork. I'm not arguing with you. It's my 5 minutes now, so please be quiet. You're being poorly led. Sam Smith, last week, only last week, I'm not talking about, I'll come on to some of the points in a minute, but last week he came up with an option. It was written on the back of a post-it note that you put on social media and you went to council. It's embarrassing. You're supposed to be a leader of a group and you took it to council and then you put it on social media. It's been turned down. It's had no work on it, no nothing. I'd love to see it. But hold on.
No, 1 second. Point of clarification. Rushcliffe Borough Council have spent £64,000 on that proposal. There is a KPMG report and we submitted that with it. So please do get your facts right, Councillor.
Oh, seems you've brought that up. Let's talk about that very fact. Rushcliffe Council spent £60,000 on a 3rd option. Yeah, well, while we bought that, your fellow councillor down there sat next to you has voted on 1B in his own district council and he chose to spend £60,000 of taxpayers' money. You're all over the place. You couldn't make a decision, as I said at the beginning, if your life depended on it. You're elected to make decisions. The residents make you a councillor to make decisions. They want you to make those decisions. Your government brought in local government reorganisation. You've had 10 years to deal with this. Now, we all know that the boundaries aren't right. Everybody in this room knows. But if we had a reform government, right, we would have asked for that straight away. And I'll tell you what, we'd have got it. And I'd have got all 64 people in this room to vote with it. And we would have done it collectively. That's how it should be done. But you and your government never did it. And you've got a minister in your own county. He did nothing. Why didn't you go and see him? So don't pontificate telling me you've done everything, because you've done nothing. Last week you had an option. In March you had an option. And hey ho, today you've got another option that's been on the table before that's been rejected. And been rejected for valid reasons. The reasons are, you can see in paragraph 20 of option 2, in the weakest of the 3 options and fails in a number of key criteria. 3 red, 3 ambers, failing below the other 2 alternative options put forward by Broxtowe and Gedlin or
Point of order, Madam Chairman. Option 2 has never been rejected.
Well,
clarification, it's never been rejected. A point of clarification, it's never been rejected.
It's been taken off the table. All nine leaders agreed to take it off the table then. Thank you. But you've brought it back, and you've been told it fails at every level. But you've still brought it back. And the reason is, I'll tell you the reason why. Your 5 or 6 followers on Facebook that Sam and others will be putting out this afternoon, you're only doing it because you're clinging on with your fingernails. You're not doing your governance job. You're a councillor. You should be doing your job properly. You should have read this report. You should have come up with a better option months ago. You're running around last week to put an option that's not valid, and today you're bringing one back that you bought in March. It's embarrassing. I'm not going to come with any other points. I could go on and on. I'd like to thank everybody on this side of the House for the debates, and Councillor Gowland. I think you made some very valid points. So let's get on with it. Let's get this job done. We've been in 4 months. It's took you 10 years, and you're back to where you were at the beginning. I rest my case.
Could we have a name?
I will now put the amendment to the vote. We need a recorded.
He's asked for a recorded vote.
You've asked for a recorded vote.
Correct.
Then we need a show of hands, please. At least 10 hands. I think we've got that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, members, just to clarify, in the spirit of Councillor Carr's reminder, this is a vote on the amendment that's been put forward at the debate you've just had. I will call out the names in order, and I'll ask you to speak clearly through your microphones, if possible, please. For, against or abstain, and we'll start with Councillor Mike Adams.
For the amendment.
Councillor Adegoke.
Against it.
Councillor Answer. Councillor Barlow.
For.
Councillor Barton. Councillor Bingham.
Again.
Councillor Brill.
Against.
Councillor Andy Brown. Councillor Kevin Brown.
Against.
Councillor Butler.
For.
Councillor Carr.
Abstain.
Councillor Chowdhury.
Against.
Councillor David Clark.
Against.
Councillor John Clark. Councillor Neil Clark.
For.
Councillor Clooney.
Against.
Councillor Cotty.
For.
Councillor Cox.
Against.
Councillor Cullen.
Abstain.
Councillor Darrington.
Against.
Councillor Dodd.
Against.
Councillor Faccio.
Against.
Councillor Gamble.
Against.
Councillor Girling.
For.
Councillor Gould.
Against.
Councillor Gowland. Councillor Green.
Against.
Councillor Roger Jackson.
For.
Councillor John.
Against.
Councillor Justice.
Against.
Councillor Lawton. Councillor Lee. Councillor Limber.
Against.
Councillor Lukacs.
Against.
Councillor Mann.
Against.
Councillor Mason.
Against.
Councillor Matthews.
Against.
Councillor McCormack.
Against.
Councillor Om.
For.
Councillor Pearson.
For.
Councillor Pepper. Councillor Rawson. Councillor Rich.
Against.
Councillor Robertson.
Against.
Councillor Saddington. Councillor Siemens.
Against.
Councillor David Smith. Councillor Sam Smith.
For.
Councillor Stoll. Councillor Upton.
For.
Councillor Vernon.
Against.
Councillor Walker-Gurley.
Against.
Councillor Wheatcroft.
Against.
Councillor Wheeler.
For.
Councillor Wilmot. Councillor Kelvin Wright. Councillor Martin Wright.
Against.
Councillor Simon Wright.
Against.
Thank you, members. We'll top that up.
Councillors, I have the results now. 16 for, 39 against, and 3 abstentions. The amendment will is lost. It's 4, sorry. So moving forward, I'm going to let you all go away for some lunch. Hope you all come back. And then we will open the debate on the original motion. So you have 1 hour for lunch. Okay.
Thank you.